You are listening to Stages Podcast with Mary Lee Fairbanks and Stephanie J. Block. Welcome to Season 6. Here on Stages Podcast, we go behind the scenes and beyond the resume to explore the crossroads of creativity, spirituality, motherhood, and so much more. Please like and subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all the places. Give us 5 stars and a great review. It really helps us grow. Thanks for joining Stages Podcast, Season 6.
How are you?
Good. How are you? We're great.
Sorry for my delay. Our Wi-Fi went out.
No worries.
And we had it back on, but I did have to reboot everything, which is annoying because I don't really know how to do that.
I still don't either. And you would think after COVID and all that, we would be little whizzes at all of this stuff. And I'm still that 50s housewife that's like, Sebastian, would you mind plugging it? And I hate that about myself. Hate it.
I don't hate it. I just called my husband and I was just like, it's not working. But I didn't have like presence of mind to like explain what. So you just have to sit there on the phone and be like, what do you, I'm like, I can't talk to you. It's not working.
Just fix it. Just fix it.
Yeah.
Okay. 1995, the St. Louis Muni Theater. We're sweating our clown makeup and asses off in the Midwest summer humidity. A fluffy boa sticks to her strong shoulders, but her million-watt smile and her bell-clear voice is tempting 11,000 people to turn back, oh man. And all 11,000 people are in the palm of her hand. I think even then our cast of Godspell knew this actress was destined to stand out. This particular summer stock cast was stacked with future stars, and Renée Elise Goldsberry being one of the brightest. I've had the blessing of calling her friend and colleague these past 30 years. 30 years. 30.
30? Is it 30? Wow.
1995, Renee.
There you go.
She is, of course, most notably known for her indelible Tony and Grammy Award-winning performance as Angelica Schuyler in Hamilton. And Seb made up this line, and I did take it. And in that revolution, she was the revelation. Her career runs the gamut from Rent to Shakespeare to One Life to Live to Girls Five Eva to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. She is an undeniable talent, a consummate professional, a kind and loving woman, and a person you want to create with, share with, and just be around. Renee is a wife and a mother of 2. She loves the Lord, her family and friends, her community. She takes the time to see people, really see them. And I think that investment in humanity can be seen and felt in every role she embodies. In the documentary Satisfied, Renee bears her soul with us as we witness her sacrifices, her triumphs, her doubts, her support at home, and all the many complicated moments that surround her rise in Hamilton. As a wife and a mother working in this craft, I can tell you I openly wept in gratitude for Renee being courageous enough to share all that goes into a full personal and professional life while creating a Broadway show, and for all of those that are wanting to have both that full professional and personal life. The movie is brave and beautiful and compelling. Satisfied premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival, had a successful movie theater screening earlier this fall, and can currently be ordered for streaming on Prime Video and Apple TV. Please welcome to Stages Podcast the remarkable Renée Elise Goldsberry. Yay!
It was so beautiful. I'm like,
you're so special. And we've not had a catch-up or a FaceTime in a very long time because a lot of ours would just kind of be in passing on a New York City street. Literally spending 3 minutes. How you been? How you been? How's the kids?
And then also hearing about each other from mutual friends.
Well, sure.
So staying, when you're in like a friend group of people's other best friends, you tend to feel like you're closer than you might be just because the
ripples get to us, don't they?
I always know how you're doing.
I didn't realize that you guys had done Godspell together.
I know.
Can you tell me more about that? I want to hear more about that.
Well, it really was essentially summer stock, but the Muni was one of those great theaters that if you booked a show with them,
did it?
And I can't even remember how old I was. Early 20, it had to have been early 20s for the both of us, right? Right?
Yeah.
Or maybe even
I'm
late
older than
teens.
I can't remember.
I can't remember either. But they
If
would
I
also,
could do math,
I don't do math. Math is
yeah,
hard.
it was 20s for sure.
Okay.
I'm saying, of course.
And we would, if you got the St. Louis Muni, then you'd do this little mini tour. And it would be, I don't know, Theater Under the Stars or the Atlanta Fox. You would do like 4 little
Yeah.
towns throughout the summer. So it was a great gig to get.
And
And
I was right out of college.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Aaron Dilly was part of that cast. I'm embarrassed to say, I used to know. But it was like 6 or 7 people that at this juncture you can look back at their careers, and there was a nice, they all have Broadway credits. They're all still in the business.
Yeah,
And the Muni, I think, has
it's so beautiful. Yeah.
it was really special, and it's an amphitheater.
Yeah.
What did you sing in it? What song?
Well, I auditioned for the big number, but I got the crowd pleaser where everybody sings along. Day by day.
And
That's literally 4 notes.
And what
4
about
notes.
you, Renee? What did you sing?
I was Turn Back, Oh Man, but I wanted that. What was ironic is I wanted Day by Day.
Why?
Because it's like the pretty singing song.
It was pretty singing, and the people would sing with us, and you never had to worry about the voice.
Yeah. Well, not you didn't.
No. Well, your song would. Yeah.
Not really. It was mine is just a funny. It's just a comedic role. Really, it's not really.
But you're supposed to be like, sultry and va 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 voo.
But we didn't do it sexy. We did it, I remember this moment I learned something because I don't know. I used to start the second act, I think. And I remember, only reason I remember that is because I remember.
Oh, you're in the audience.
No, I'm in the wing, but I remember I was supposed to run out in the beginning. Y'all were on stage and I was supposed to run out in the beginning and start my silliness. And one day I held, and there was like this moment, and then I'm sure you guys were all like, what? And then I ran out, and the whole audience erupted in laughter, and you guys all erupted in laughter, and it was amazing. And I was like, I'm so funny. And then I learned this bit. And so the next show I held and I ran out and nobody laughed.
Yeah, it's got to be fresh, doesn't it?
And that's when I was like, I just learned that one truism in the theater, like, oh no, you can't plan. You can't, it has to, yeah, but say it, Steph. It's got to be fresh.
Yeah, it's got to be fresh.
And it wasn't just you guys already knew. Or even because the audience didn't know. More people didn't know. It was more. Right. There's something about the energy, specifically of all theater, that you can't recreate.
Yeah, the authenticity of that moment and the reaction, the authentic reaction of the cast. The audience feels that, and that's what happened. Yeah.
I said this one time before on this podcast, and again, when said to me, I think it was Bartlett Sher, I took a little bit of offense. That seems to be the case these days. I got to work on that. But, he said to me, planning is for amateurs, but preparing is for the professional. And I was like, oh, there's a big difference there, isn't it? And I had walked in saying, I feel like this role needs to do this. And maybe at the end, if I do a motion like this, then that will inform the audience of. And he's like, no. That's planning. We don't plan. Planning's for amateurs. Let's prepare and then just see what happens. I was like,
I love that. I'll take it.
That is great.
Okay.
Actually, that's great.
Smart man. I'll take it. And I think he's right. I mean, there's a fine line, but yeah, we prepare.
We prepare.
And then we, let go.
And then we let it go.
But there's actually an energetic thing behind that, right? So when you're planning, you're thinking about the future.
Yeah.
When you're preparing, it's as if it is happening. And that's a subtle difference. So it's like if you say, I'm going to get this great job, you're signaling to the universe that it's somewhere else. It's not present.
Oh.
Say, I've got this great job. The universe is like, oh, okay. And they give you that it's happening energy that comes into your life.
Oh.
It's writing for the positive present tense instead of the future or the past. So you never say, also, I will or I want.
You inspired another analysis. Planning is in your head.
Yes. Preparing is action.
It's an action.
Yes.
So you're like, I'm going to do this. That's, I had a teacher in Carnegie Mellon. They used to go, head, get out of your head,
Right. Yeah.
That's planning. Preparing is, it's an action that will live in a more organic place. Yes.
Look at
Yes.
that.
Well, we've solved that, everybody.
We're just
Thank you.
manifesting all over the place.
Thank you, Godspell 1995.
Okay, now I'm going to jump to husbands just really quickly because I know I mentioned Seb earlier in the podcast, but he was watching the movie. He was watching your husband cry and speak of you with such admiration and like love. He looks at me, he's like, "Why is Alexis the best friend I never knew?" He's like, I think because there is an alignment there of just, Seb saw himself in the preparing the home and the lifting, Alexis lifting you up and trying to make ways for you to do what you needed to do and set you up for success. And I think Seb just honored that in such a way that he's like, he's my best friend, but he doesn't know me. I don't know him. We got to know.
We got some catching up to do.
Talk to us a little bit about Alexis and how that relationship started and how it has grown and what that partnership looks like.
Ooh, well, it's still the greatest gift. I mean, that's like the Tony speech. It's like, was this way to thank him by saying, I, have had one life-changing, once-in-a-lifetime moment every single day in Hamilton, and still the best part of every day is coming home to you. That's really it is very sincere. He's the star of the doc, and he's the rock in the family for sure. And yeah, he models a behavior that I think because when someone said to me, in a talk back for the documentary, they were marveling at how compassionate my little baby children were for me in that kind of work balance struggle. And I said, yeah, they are wonderful human beings. And also he models a behavior in our home. And the documentary has given him the ability to model a behavior in the world. So it's what's I think more interesting is how Seb reacted, because most men are like mad at him.
Because he's doing it so right, and they pale in comparison.
Let my wife see this documentary because I don't need that pressure. You just set the bar too high, brother. So I just think it's wonderful that, your husband saw himself and a friend as opposed to somebody that was ruining it for everybody else.
Why you gotta make me look bad?
When you came in and he was sewing, he was hemming on the sewing machine. I was
and you know what?
Who is this guy?
The thing that's so funny about it is it's like my niece, who knows us well, grew up in this home. What she said when she saw the documentary is he actually is better than he appears.
Comes across. Wow.
Because that's the thing about documentaries and that are just really tricky and manipulative, I think, is that you really can take footage and tell any story you want to.
Sure.
And you have to be, and these wonderful producers and directors. One of them, Melissa Hazlett, the other one is Chris Bolin. But one of them, they had one woman they brought onto the team because they wanted to make sure that there was one Black woman on the directing team to kind of protect and all of the things that are appropriate and whatever. And she used to send me pictures of stills of the doc, like, Renee, are you sure you want this? Or, Renee, you're cursing a lot in this scene. Do you want that? She was just kind of protecting me. And for all of them, I was like, what are we doing if we're editing out that which is unflattering? You know what I mean? Like, the worst thing this could be is some kind of, vanity project.
Yeah.
That was really frightening. So we left in there, he said, we're over here, bickering and doing what we do, we tried to leave stuff in there so that, we seem real, because we are.
Yes.
And it's a beautiful thing to be able to celebrate him in this thing that seems like it's a celebration of Hamilton and some things that are bigger, more well known. It's really wonderful.
But here, I think this is really important to say also, is not only does it highlight the struggle of a mom trying to balance these young babies and the incredible pressure of putting a brand new show up on a stage and doing all of the things that are so difficult because it's so, both jobs are all consuming, but it highlights what's going on right now with young men. As the documentary, his behavior allows young men to see that it's not this battle between men and women. It's a battle between toxic masculinity and what is a real man. And a real man behaves like your husband. He was completely there buoying you at every moment, even when it was hard for him. And that's something I think is really important to be seen right now, because so many young men are struggling with who they want to be in the world and how to be in the world. And it feels like a battle between the sexes, which is the wrong place to take the struggle.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, I thought
And
it was very
and
touching.
it's beautiful, just the model. I mean, I think that's healing, I think, to see that exists in so many places. Just for men, to kind of change that stereotype, and for Black men, Black men and Black fathers. It's just a really beautiful example. And it's all so true. That's what's so beautiful. It actually is all so true. They just, we just put a camera up in our house, and this is what, I literally just came home and he was sewing because he had lost a little bit of weight, and he, wanted to figure out how to bring in his pants. I mean,
what was the genesis of the documentary? Because there were camera crews, or cameras following you pretty early in the process. So was it something that you thought of, or there was a team that said, hey, let's just gather this footage, not sure what it might become? Or did you know that at the end of, gosh, a decade long, that this might be the package you would end up with?
The majority of it was from, and the inspiration to do it was because I had these vlogs from inside the dressing room at Hamilton, and then obviously just so much content. It's so funny because that is the biggest question everybody has. Why did you know to start filming yourself? But that's all we do all day long, if anywhere. And actually, everybody has always told me in this career, since social media was invented, that I should be doing it more. And I kind of never did. And I used to say, it really depends on who kind of number one on the call sheet is when you're in a project. Because if I'm not in a project, I don't necessarily, I used to think, who cares about what I'm doing in my house? But if I'm in a project and the number one on the call sheet doesn't want a picture of them taken, then you can't really have your phone, recording things to have anything to post. But in Hamilton, Lin-Manuel Miranda, he used to, back when there was a Twitter, he used to just, text the world all the time, because he's just so brilliant. He needed to, he just liked
Outlets.
the algorithm of, what interesting things can I put in the world in these many characters, So he literally picked up my phone one day early and he put me on Twitter, and I think Pippa or Jasmine picked my phone one day and put me on Instagram. So we were all just doing this all the time because we knew that this was incredible, that we knew that this was something to be saved. I mean, at some point I was in the Richard Rodgers and you saw the street outside, 46th Street. I've never experienced, and I've been in an amazing, the closing of Rent or Color Purple, that first Color Purple. I mean, I've been in some mind-blowing, this is it. Thank you, I had it. Thank you, Lord. Oh my God, I got to do this thing once. I've been in some experiences like that. So Hamilton was just something other that I've never experienced. It's just a phenomenon beyond anything I'd ever experienced. And I thought at some point, music theater kids are going to want to know what it feels like to be in this room where it's happening. Forgive me. Did you know what I mean? They're going to know that. And my character's sitting up in here in London in the dressing room. So let me just eat this, drunken noodles. Start talking about what happened today. I just, that's what I did, but I never posted it. And because that's what I do. I make content I don't post. So that was one source of all the content. And then the other source of the content is because it was Hamilton and there were so many people kind of following us at different times. Leslie Odom Jr. at some point hired somebody to follow us around on our opening night. A lot of that footage in our kitchen was because Leslie's gift to the company was that he hired a team to kind of go around with us on just around opening. And then he compiled a little kind of just put something together and gave it to us as an opening night present.
Oh, that's so
wow.
cool.
Isn't he awesome? Yeah, just like, and it was just like this kind of short little, I wouldn't call it a doc, just short little kind of narrative filmed of like what our opening experience was. And so he gave me that footage. So that's why I had a camera crew in my house when I was making eggs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I just went to everybody in the cast, and I was, when we were doing it, I'm like, you guys, send me your stuff. And then this is a big thing I think I need to share and to celebrate. Jeffrey Seller, Oscar Yusuf's, Lin-Manuel Miranda, Tommy Kim, they all were like, here, they just opened up Hamilton because I was going to do this documentary. And that's a huge thing to do. They were extremely protective. They need to be extremely protective of the property in every way, shape, or form. We didn't do all kinds of things. We wouldn't show up on talk shows and perform our music. We wouldn't even show up at the Grammys and perform. They were really protective of the property in ways that were really served it, so that they didn't kind of dilute it in any way, shape, or form, because it's hard to like see people, rapping in, period costumes outside of the world we created. They were really protective of it. So for them to say, when I wanted to do this documentary, here, have everything, no, at no cost, show us when it's done. And here, Bernie Telsey, here, everything. Everybody was just like, here's everything. I mean, that's such a tremendous gift. So that's what I had to work with when it was putting together this story.
It's also a testament to their trust in your judgment, though.
Yeah.
It's a testament to they trust that you know what you're doing and that you're not going to do something that doesn't serve them. Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was you as
thank God. And then I had to trust the group of people that were not a part of Hamilton to be thoughtful with it. And everybody's like, I love your doc. You did such a good job. I didn't make it. I was just the source material. But I did keep approval rights and that was a big deal because of my children. So I had the ability, that was a big deal, that we all had the ability to say, you can't use them, like, this has to change, or you can't use them, or you can't use this clip. We had that right in it always. And I learned that from, I think the Kardashians had that in their TV show. It's kind of a really interesting thing. They had that. And when you have that, when you can say no and veto everything, then you can be as completely open, because you're safe.
Well, it's good the kids were in it, because it was the only way we could actually see at time progression, because you don't age.
Well, that is true.
She's showing the clips. I'm like, wait, is this her as what age? Because it always looks the same. Tell from you. It's
also good because, there's so many reenactments in documentaries.
Right.
So you could think we were filming everything now, except for the fact that there's no way. Children do not. Yeah. What do they say? Fleetwood Mac. Children get older and I'm getting older too. Girl, that is playing in my head.
Is that Dixie Chicks? Did you just throw out Dixie Chicks?
That's Fleetwood Mac.
Okay, so
but you're not wrong, because Dixie Chicks remade it.
Okay.
And Stephanie is a singer, because I absolutely sang that little lick I did.
That was the Dixie Chicks.
Straight up the Dixie Chicks. Yeah. And I'm getting older too. That's their version of it.
Did you? Stages podcast will be right back after a word from our sponsors.
At the time of the filming, you were still in Manhattan, right? You were raising the kiddos in Manhattan. How was that for you? Being like flat out, how was that for you?
It's hard to be pulling strollers up and down the stairs in here. But I loved it. We had the parks, we had the mommy community. We're all up. There was we were in cabs with no car seats. We do in New York City. We were just we had Manhattan.
Yeah, Manhattan.
We had to get into
song.
schools.
Sing that one now.
We had to get into school.
We had Manhattan. Go on.
And actually, I should have said, what was harder? What was harder than trying to raise babies while while, giving birth to Hamilton with this incredible group of people. And I would say getting my children into school, into private school in New York City. Yeah. So there are some things that are really hard about it. And then there are things that are just absolutely wonderful about it. If you can crack it, if you can find an apartment that you don't kill each other in, there are some things if you can do, you love it. We clearly don't live there at the moment. But that's just because COVID happened and we wanted to diversify our experience.
Good for you. I took it a little too far as I'm now in Northern California going, I'm sorry, what happened 5 years ago now? How am I here now? But if you feel comfortable talking about the pregnancies.
Absolutely.
Okay. So similarly, I was trying to get pregnant multiple times when I was in New York City, and I could get pregnant. I just couldn't hold them to term.
Yeah, me too. That was me.
Yep. So
when we talked about this at the time.
No, isn't that something?
Yes.
I did make an error, which I still carry with me when I ran into you one day and asked about, your pregnancy at the time, and you were very gracious. You gave me space to apologize profusely, and but
tell me, what happened? I don't remember this. Where were we?
Said, I asked about your pregnancy. You said, no, I lost that pregnancy. And it was without really looking and taking you in. I don't know whether I found out from Camila that you were on and I think this was before maybe adopting Brielle. Does that feel right?
So
or would it have been after?
I already had a kid?
Yes.
No way. I don't think so.
No.
Because
we were in Harlem. So that would have been 20.
So here's the thing. If you knew of a pregnancy that I had lost, then it would have been before Benjamin, because there were 5. Benjamin was my 6th pregnancy.
Right.
That I'm aware of. So there were, I should say, my 6th, pregnancy after kind of a miscarriage that I was aware of. So I had 5 before then.
Okay.
And some of them, and one of them was quite public. Only one of them was public. So if you had been aware, and that was way before Benjamin. So if you had been aware that I was pregnant and then you had this awkward moment with me that you felt was awkward. Clearly, I don't remember an awkward moment with you at all.
And that has given me breath, and I thank you for that, because I'm thinking about myself too much, for sure.
Oh, no, I think it's just natural. And I actually learned that at that time in my life, is that it's interesting to be in that group of people that people have heard something happen to, and they don't know if they can say it or not say it, or they stumble into it and they don't know if they feel comfortable. I'm often in your chair, and carrying all that. But I remember how it felt to be in the other role, and knowing that there's no pain in that, So I know, like, if I'm talking to my very good friend who lost her mother, if I mention it, she probably is more excited to talk about her mother than the fact that I, opened some wound. And so that's the way I remember it. And I want you to remember that as well. Mentioning to me that I was pregnant and have lost the child. I mean, I literally I think it was my 2nd miscarriage, was, in the 2nd trimester. And it was very public because I was on One Life to Live at the time. And I was also in The Color Purple at the time. And they had just released the Color Purple had just released the news that I was pregnant, against my wishes, actually. Because when I went to the audition for The Color Purple, I told them that I was pregnant. That's the first people I ever told. I even had to tell my manager I was pregnant at that time, because I was going to say no to Alice Walker. I was going to say no to Alice Walker, and I wanted them to understand why I would say no to this awesome opportunity. And so we told them, she's pregnant, no one knows yet. And they said, will she do it anyway? We'll just, we'll let her stay in it, till just the first couple months. We just want her to open the show, and then we're going to make my dresses bigger as we went along. So we were doing that the entire time in The Color Purple. And then they had to put out a casting announcement, because it was my time to leave. And they didn't want, when they put out a casting announcement in the beginning of a show, everyone to think they had fired me. So they were like, Renee, we're going to put this casting breakdown out. Can we please let people know that you're pregnant? And I said, I'm all right with people thinking that you fired me, or that I lost the job, because I'm not really ready to say yet that I'm pregnant. They'll figure it out.
Yeah, please right.
yeah, please, it's fine. Just go ahead and do it. And they did it anyway, because I think they really thought they were protecting me.
Mm.
And the sad thing about it is that maybe days after that went public, I lost the baby.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
And so I was on a soap opera at the time. And when I showed up back to work after losing the baby, because I was on a soap opera, there were just baskets of
Oh
baby
gosh.
things and congratulations. And all
Oh.
of my sweet family from One Life to Live was like hiding the baskets and putting it, like, so that when I could come to work and not see like this, the outpouring of love and congratulations for this baby. Right. So that was this very awkward thing that happened. And I'll never forget when I had to walk down the street from One Life to Live, which was on 66th Street, to the Color Purple, 10, 20 blocks. And I had to walk into that building for the first time after I had lost this baby. And I had to figure out how to talk to this group of people, because I knew they would be, that's the thing I realized. When you lose something publicly, not only do you have to manage the loss, you kind of have to manage your community and their management of it. I felt a little bit like, oh God, I don't have to just do this. I have to take care of all these people who are mourning.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you just get good at it. That's why your little thing meant nothing to me. I had to walk into this company of people and I had to help them figure out how to continue to do the show with me.
Right.
And we had this baby that was about to happen there together. It's just hard,
Yeah.
And but it grew me up. And I said to them in the company, you guys, this is not where I lost this baby. This is where I had this baby. We had this baby here together. This is not a place of sadness for me. It's a place, let's not make it that, and don't not look at me like, don't Maya, this girl that was this wonderful, talented woman who was in Color Purple with me. When I first walked into the theater that day, she saw me and she hid. Because she was scared.
Because she didn't know how to respond. She didn't know how to
respond. And she's got the most beautiful, sweet face. And she was like, hi, oh, hi. Well, she didn't know. She was like, hi, oh. And she was like, I don't know what to say. So that's what helped me say, you guys, let's all sit down in this room and have a hug and just tell each other, I'm okay and we're okay and we can do the show together. And this is a good place for me to be. And seeing your faces is helping me get through this.
How far along were you at that point?
I was I can't remember. It's a thing about it. It's like just like the labor pains kind of deadens, not deadens, but it just kind of becomes a blur in your life. But I was 20 something. I think I was like 22, between 22 and 25 weeks. But it was
significant.
It was very significant.
Yeah.
I mean, like it was right around the stage where somebody can actually take a baby from you. And, now with the healthcare and the neonatal healthcare, they can actually keep a baby alive. So it was in my subsequent pregnancy, every minute I was like always charting, did I make it to that place?
Yeah.
Baby can be safe outside of me.
It's a really interesting thing, grief and people dealing with it. I have a girlfriend, very good girlfriend, who lost a child at 3 years old. And she loves to talk about her. Like if it's the baby's birthday, we'll say, oh, and we'll go to dinner, and the whole dinner, she'll talk about her and share memories. And she has made it something that we can talk about. Like
celebrate.
I never knew
almost.
her baby, but I feel like I know her baby because we've told stories. And she's like, I love it. I love to talk about it because she was a part of my life. And I don't want to pretend it didn't exist. She also said something so incredibly touching. She said, we have a word for everything. I've said this before with someone else on the podcast, but she said, we have a word for everything. We have a word for a widow who's lost her husband, a widower who's lost his wife, but we have no word for a mother who's lost her baby. There is not even a word that we can put on it. That's how
there's not a label. When I was with Benjamin, that pregnancy that's what I get to celebrate in this documentary. And I remember, I walked into Michael Greif, was the director of Rent, and then one of the next shows he did was Next to Normal. And I remember walking into, he invited me to come see it, and when I walked in, I was 8 or 9, however months, I was 8 months pregnant with Benjamin, and when he saw me, he was like, oh. I probably shouldn't have invited you here. This is awkward, you know? And then, and I didn't realize till the end of the show that the whole point is that there's this basically ghost in the house
Mm-hmm.
of a child that she's lost in Next to Normal that's kind of taken over the whole family.
Mm.
And you know, and they're all kind of suffering because the mother can't let this loss go or can't put it in a place that's healthy for the family. And he was like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, no, I'm so glad you showed me this, because it's like a cautionary tale. It's like what I won't do with these losses. I won't do that to my children, to my husband, to my family, to the world. I will not let it be. It'll be a birthday party celebration. It will not be this kind of ghost of a thing that's going to be something that's sad. And I just love that art can give us that. That we can see something played out in a way that can really inform how we live our lives. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. And, you know, a lot of our listeners, you might be too young, but still to this day, if you go to an OBGYN or your general practitioner or something, there is a question there that says, how many pregnancies have you had? And how many births have you had? And there's a big difference. There's a big difference. I never realized that until you actually have to fill that out and you go, oh, and every time it, you know, I don't wallow or carry it with me, but it sure is oh, that was all part of it, wasn't it?
Well, you know what? I have to say this also, and a lot of this is just kind of the fact that we live in this time, but we just know more. I mean, one of the
Yes.
reasons why, you know, like that's the thing. I mean, how many miscarriages? I don't know, because our bodies just naturally used to do that, and we didn't know. We didn't know
Right.
that we were pregnant until like sometimes we were 3 months pregnant, like as human beings back in the day.
Yeah.
Um, and so now we just can know so early in the process. That means that you mourn all these natural times when your body's like, not this one, not this one, not this one, not this one. And we're having huge sorrowful like losses and connections to the idea of what might have been. And
Right.
and sometimes I think that's not the healthiest thing to know. Sometimes we just know too much.
Yeah.
But also our relationship with having children, I hope, because you said so many of your listeners are so young, I hope they don't hear this and think, you know, this whole pregnancy thing, do I want to do this? Is this going to be really hard? What is this road? My hope is that they just are mindful of making room for it in their life.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think when we're in this business, we assume everybody tells you, "Ooh, that's going to be hard." You want to have to get something to fall back on.
Everything's
Everyone
hard.
just makes you assume that the only challenge that you're going to have to make, the only thing where the odds might be against you, is in being successful as an artist,
Yeah.
being successful in entertainment. And so you put all of your emotion and your energy and your kind of investment in that. And you just assume that, you know, as while you're doing this, you'll meet somebody, you'll get married, you just assume maybe you'll have some kids. Like that's just going to happen. And this is the thing you need to focus on. And what
Mm-hmm.
I want people to be aware of is that it is absolutely okay and even a really good idea to be intentional about how you live your personal life and how you live your professional life.
Yes.
And the
Yes.
investment in my personal life, anyway, has always been the thing that yields the greatest fruit in my professional life. And that's
Yes.
counterintuitive. And I think this is really important for men as well, because they're kind of fed this. You were talking about like what we're telling young men earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're fed this idea that they have to have it all together. I have to be successful before I can be worthy of asking this girl in my show with me that I have such a crush on to marry me, right? They think that that's the case, and it's actually not. It's not the way we've ever done it in history before. People just fell in love with nothing and then said, let's do this together. Everything's easier together. But
Yes.
we have this idea that we have to have some established something to be worthy of putting a ring on it. You know,
No,
we
you got
have
to
to have
make the choice to commit to the saying yes, to commit to building a
that.
life together, right? That's
Commit to
the,
like the risk, you know, like I said, every time I brought, I brought home a child, something greater happened in my career, which is not, it's not intuitive. Every time I added a dependent on my tax, on my tax form, I
right.
got, the job went up, like the level, I had less time.
Mhm.
But like Brielle came. That's the beauty. The Brielle, when the minute I finally finished this family that I always dreamt of is when my inbox had the email. Do you want to come to this Hamilton audition?
It's because your well is deeper. When we invite that humanity into our life and we invite that sacrifice, if you are doing life right, I firmly believe this. It's going to be hard because you're paying attention, you're invested, you're loving, you're anxious because you care.
You're
But
taking risks.
all of that only adds to your artistic ability, integrity, the way you show up to work. Yep, you're going to have bags under your eyes, probably a little more tired than the neighbor that woke up at noon for the rehearsal at 1:30. What the fuck? But the fabric that you've created in your humanity is what is your art form and your tool. You're going to be better. You're going to be better.
Yeah, that's so true.
Well,
Uh,
like attracts like. So you're in abundance, so abundance keeps happening,
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's
And yet we show up in spaces where that abundance isn't necessarily um, recognized. We're not in proximity to that abundance a lot in our art form. So it does seem unusual, but we are out there making art happen, making family happen, making Christmas happen, making Halloween happen, the birthday parties, the teacher baskets. Like we're making it happen. And I think Renee is right in the sense that in these silos or conservatories, we are so focused on the learning the craft and spending all the time thinking about the craft and ourselves within the craft. And as
Or
soon as you can
honestly, it's
break,
really just getting a job.
yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
well,
The
and
craft is
breaking
a
all
pleasure.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Mm.
looking outside yourself. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm better because I paid attention to that person. And now I can bring their walk of life, their story.
Yes.
Perhaps that will
Yes.
enrich what
Yes.
I bring.
That's
Yeah,
so true.
yeah, yeah.
That is so true. It is all that we are, yeah. All of the information that we can bring in our own personal lives or watching other people's, like all of that investment is what it's the palette.
It's the palette. And I remember being in London 6 months by myself, thinking, oh gosh, this is going to be great. I'm going to sleep in a little bit. I'll be able to just make myself. By day 5, I thought, okay, I'm looking in the mirror way too long. I'm thinking about all of these in what I would consider inconsequential things. I'm sitting in the muck as opposed to a body in motion that's trying to be of service, that has this really beautiful sort of, it's not a balance. It's total chaotic when you're at home, but
Yeah.
somehow it all fits together like a more relationship. That's not a word. A puzzle that makes sense as
Yeah.
opposed to this sort of myopic, I'm staring too long. I don't even know what the picture looks like anymore because you're staring too long and too close, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I do.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I do.
It's funny because I stopped working when I had my son because I became, first of all, I was older when I had him and I knew I was only going to have one. And I know that I become so hyper focused on whatever I'm doing that I almost can't do more than one big thing at a time. And I
Okay.
knew I'm going to hyper focus on this because, first of all, I'm Italian and ain't nobody going to eat. My son's feet didn't even touch the ground for the first 2 years. Nobody babysat. No one. No one can babysit. No one. It's mine. I'm doing it. But that's just how I was. I thought I would get past that and go back to work sooner. But then, life just happens and things happen. But it was really, and I knew I couldn't do both. I knew I just couldn't handle it because I'm too controlling and I'm too hyper focused and I
And do
had
you
to be
think you
there.
created that script for yourself out of safety, or did you
Mm,
truly know you couldn't do both?
I knew I couldn't do both. I knew I
Okay.
couldn't.
Okay.
I don't think I would have had the constitution to pull off what I watched you pull off in that documentary.
Stages podcast will be right back, so don't go away. Renee, now that you are able to handle, there's not a better way, all of the different facets of your life, of which there are many, it's a lot of moving parts. When you see an email or you see a text message, is there an instinct in you that goes, oh, what is this going to be? How's this going to throw a wrench in what we've got in this moment? Or are you just kind of open and seeing what happens?
Well, my kids are a little older now. So I think, that kind of changes. I mean, I have so many family members and really good friends who made a choice, a really valid choice to not work, for this period of time. And even they at some point are feeling completely unappreciated. I
Yeah.
remember my sister-in-law, she just had the joy of, being home with my two nieces. And then at some point, like, I don't know what grade it was that one of them was like, "What do you do, mommy?" You know?
Yeah.
So at some point, a lot of people, tend to think, what am I going to add? And as though they're not, as though your life is not as chaotic and taxing just because you're not officially in your profession at the
Yeah.
time you're raising children. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's an interesting thing that I see everybody balancing in different ways, shapes and forms.
Yeah.
My life is set up to work in this way. There are things I haven't done yet. I haven't gone back to a Broadway show yet with my kids. You remember, because you called me about one of them you were going to do, and you were like, "Are you
Mhm.
coming to do this?" And I'm like, "I'm not," because I was thinking to myself, it's summer,
Mhm.
and I felt like my kids, if I'm not home for summer, if I'm gone all summer, then I'm really going to nail in this identity that my mom is just not here. So I'm
Mhm.
not going to do this show that Stephanie was doing that I actually look back and regret not having done that show because I also didn't know that we were heading into a strike after that, and
Oh,
I would have
yeah.
had plenty of time at home. So the honest
Mm.
answer is, at this particular moment, I'm so excited for opportunity and for work and for jobs. I'm less afraid about my first instinct is, oh God, what this is going to take me away from this home. My first instinct is, yay, how much money does it pay?
Yeah, well, yeah,
College and private school and
yes.
Yeah.
We can't
landscape.
pretend this isn't our livelihood and
Yeah.
it pays the
Yeah.
bills of our family and the mortgage and, like you said, the college. It's all very real. It has to
It's
be
all very
paid.
real. So at this moment, my first thing with my text and email that I'm refreshing all the time is, "Come on, show me the money." And
Right.
also just I want, I'm excited about opportunity, like I always have been. That's the beauty, is that we're not ever not ambitious. That's why I love
Right.
about that show, Girls Five
Which
Eva.
is a good word. Sometimes people give it a connotation where
Yeah.
it's not a good word. And I think
Ambitious.
ambition is,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I've
But
Right.
heard
also,
it
but it's a great word
negatively.
for for mothers, to be able to still be ambitious, whatever that means. It doesn't even have to be that you're in your career, but like ambitious for anything. It's a
Yeah.
great word for us even as we get older. That's why I said I love Girls Five Eva so much, is because we don't ever stop dreaming and being excited. No, it's addictive. You said living in Northern California. There are so many amazing places to live, like Northern California. Like, come on. It's amazing there. What becomes addictive about being close to New York City or, Los Angeles or wherever, is the idea that your phone could ring and your life could change.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And it still happens from Northern California. That's why I don't live in New York City anymore. If you can be anywhere, but it's like, today, can you go here?
Right.
You
And
know?
you actually can. You can get on the public
If
transit
you
and
can
a
get a
train and
babysitter
be
or
there.
somebody can pick up your kid, you actually can.
Yeah.
It's like, it feels like gambling a little bit.
Mm.
And it's addictive, that, and it's not just a phone ringing, it's just a ping.
Well,
Right.
it's interesting. It
You know
goes
what I
it
mean?
goes all the way back to the beginning,
Yes,
Steph.
what? Where? Okay, okay.
Yeah.
It goes all the way back to the beginning when you said it's about being prepared but not planning, because you
Yeah.
can't plan
That's
for the
right.
magic that can come your way if you have this open mind and a totally prepared attitude, and like, ways to make it possible for you to grab the thing that comes your way. So
Yep.
Yeah.
it goes all the way back to what we were saying before. It's just another application of it.
Are
Yeah.
there family rules of engagement, Renee? Like here, we have if it's three points. If it's too lucrative to say no, too artful to say no, and too joyful. If it's just one,
Oh.
we don't really bring it to the whole table for the family. If it's two, let's have a serious conversation. If it's all three, we are going to work like as a community to make it happen. Do you know what I mean? Like we will figure it out. Do you guys kind of have rules of engagement like that in your household?
I love those rules of engagement. You know, I think we're a little, like I said, my son's 16, you know, like we have a little bit more, you know, support, so I can do a little bit more. And I have to say, this is something that's interesting about a documentary that feels a bit like a lie, or at least not a full truth. This documentary is about a very privileged family,
yeah,
in a struggle between my Broadway show and my family, you know. What's interesting is that there are, you know, and you see my husband doing all those amazing things. What you don't see is any human being other than me and my husband. And my mother lived with us for a while too, to be really helpful. But we always had somebody working in our home that really was being the stereotypical wife slash mother in our home in terms of doing all of that stuff. We always had that person. And to this day, we still have a person here who is, who literally, it's like, you know, can you be me so that if I have to leave tomorrow,
yes,
still on time, you know, no one's going to miss a pickup. No one's going to not have some clean socks and underwear. Like we have our life still, we are still fortunate enough to have our life set up so that I can be gone at the drop of an eye. And so the going and coming back and being gone is really about what I'm missing.
Yeah.
You know, and what's just kind of irreplaceable about me and my presence here. Yeah. But like the functioning of the family continues. And that is a huge privilege that is not representative of most people's journeys. So it really can become, does this feel like a good idea in terms of financially? Does this feel like it's good artistically and joyfully? And typically the joy comes from the artistic and the financial.
Well, that is true. Yeah.
It's kind of baked in to the other one.
And the people, I will say it depends on who you're working with. Because I've been paid enough and it has been artful, but sometimes the gathering of people that they brought together, you go, golly, this wasn't fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a new one for me that's it's also, it's actually, I feel like it's a luxury to have, but it should always be there. And on some level, it has always been there. And that is the ministry.
Yes.
That's the thing. So it is financial, it is artistic, there is joy involved in it. Can my family do it? But what we're really, really, really invested in is, and what I'm really invested in is that the Lord gave me this platform, and what am I doing with it? And so my decisions about should I go do the show or not do the show are not, like a really good manager actually, me one time, you have this blessing in your life of this kind of connection to this wonderful show, and you have this hardware, this Tony. You're never going to catch up with Audra. Do you know what I mean? How many do you need? Right?
Yeah, right.
Like if you're not going to show up and do something for something beyond chasing a career or chasing relevance, then it was wasted on you. Like, can you show up for something bigger? Like, who is this going to serve in the world? So that's why I was like, I got to do that talk for OSHA. I left my home, you know, and for 3 days to go to California, not to do anything for me, not to make a penny, but because, and that's what this documentary really is.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
I don't need me not looking good in my pajamas in my apartment, you know, in the world. I'm a very private person. Like that doesn't feel amazing.
Right.
But it does feel amazing that that people might watch this because of Hamilton, because of what they might have heard, or that I can say to, as I leave the stage of my life of having children, I can say to all people that are in that stage or going into that stage, this is what it looked like for me.
Yes.
Is there anything here when you're on this journey yourself, and they're coming, they're there and they're coming. Is there anything here that helps this make sense to you? Yeah. That's, to me, worth getting on a plane and leaving my family and my kids go.
beyond it being about being a mother and trying to get, when we come to the part of the documentary where you go back and you visit your high school teacher who had such a huge impact on your life, and it was so clear that that man was doing his ministry in life,
Woo!
giving
Great.
back what he was meant to give
Oh
back
my
to
God,
all
you're
these
gonna make me
children.
cry.
I literally, that was the part that made me well up more than anything else. And I have in my notes, I watched that scene and I felt I've not done enough good in the world. That was how I felt at the end of that scene, because he was so clearly sharing what he was meant to be in the world. And it's making me cry. But so this documentary goes beyond just about the struggle of family and motherhood and career and giving your gifts. It goes into like, what are you putting in the world and why? Why?
And that comes with, if I may, your teacher being so authentic.
Oh my
And
God.
you could feel that he is comfortable in his existence,
Yeah.
in his place in the world. In turn, Renee, you in that documentary, as a believer, as a woman of faith, I'm watching and I'm like, she talk about ministry, just the way you carried yourself, the simple cross you're wearing, the prayer circles that are being held, your Tony speech. There is no preaching going on per se or soapbox, right? But your life is speaking loud because of the authenticity with which you are walking every day as a Christian woman. So you don't have to put on anything. And I think that's the goal, is that sort of being so authentic and comfortable that you walk into any space and say, how am I bringing all that I've prepared in my life to this moment so that I can just be? And then that effect is massive, right? You don't have to sing. Well, it's still a beautiful thing, but you don't have to be a cantor at a church to be, to do your calling and be of service and to be of ministry. It is there in your every fiber. It's part of your DNA. And you can feel that comfortability. That's the beautiful thing. I don't need the bumper sticker. I don't need somebody on the corner telling me it's the end is coming. I'm not changing my ways or rethinking my actions or how my footprints are changing this world with that sort of noise.
Yeah.
Yours is just lived, and man, is it impactful. Really impactful.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, it's a beautiful gift to be able to yeah, to have so much kind of welcome into forms like this. And just to say, this is, good in the world is this that you're doing. You said I haven't done enough good in the world. This is that. A friend of mine did a podcast, and I was watching it the other day, and because I realized he didn't have a huge platform for the podcast. He was just kind of doing this because he felt like it was his ministry, and I hadn't watched it. And so I was like, you know what? Let me just sit down and watch this. And the reason why I don't typically watch it is because I don't want to see myself. It's like painful. Like even with this documentary, like when, sometimes I'll come and do a Q&A and they'll bring me early and I'll hear my voice. Like I'll be behind the screen and I'll hear my voice. I'll be like, oh God, I'll be outside. When the credits roll, can you bring me in? Like who wants to hear? Last person who wants to hear me. It's probably me, then my kids. You know what I'm saying? And so I happened to watch his, and I did start crying because I was like, I recognized it's always like the answer to the question. We're always like, why did I do this? Do you feel that? Why did I'm always asking myself that question when I say yes to things. Why did I say it? And this documentary is a why. So a lot of people are like, when did you do this? How did you do this? Mine is always why. And these kinds of platforms, this right here, this moment is the answer to that question. This is the why. And when I look back and watch it, it moves me to tears because I see the gift of the opportunity to minister in just showing up and talking about my experience.
Showing up.
And we all have that. We all have it if we're doing it at lunch, if we're doing it in our homes, if we're doing it in our whatever circle, at the job, in the cubicle, whatever it is, we all have it. And And I hope other people see or recognize the value in telling our stories to whoever will listen.
Yeah.
And recognize how that kind of is the point for getting up and living every day. That's the point.
Yeah.
When you watch the doc, are you brought back to that time, or is it this beautiful sort of distant Valentine?
Oh, I haven't watched it in quite a long time.
Okay.
But when I watch it, I'm a perfectionist. So, and the doc is really based on several vlogs that are very long. I actually have posted them on YouTube at this point, some of them. And so I'm always just kind of mindful of the craft and kind of really appreciating the work of having taken so much material and kind of of the directors and the producers to make it. I watch the craft and I marvel at my children being so young. So I was very protective of my children. Kelly O'Hara, and Audra McDonald were on the producing team. And the reason why that was so significant is because I have seen both of them lactating and on Broadway. Both I've seen them dancing on tables, pregnant. I've watched them from afar do much more than you see me do in this documentary. And so that's one reason why it was great to have them on. And the other reason is that they're fiercely protective of their children. And I thought that they would help protect mine. And I was really concerned, this is their story too, what should be out in the world. And what's so interesting is that when my kids see this, I didn't know this was coming. They think what you said, Stephanie. They're like, look at those kids. They are so cute. They don't even recognize themselves in it because kids get older, as we said. They don't even recognize themselves in it. So they have much more of a distance from it. It feels like a chapter of my life that I'm no longer in, but it still feels, when I see it again, like such an awesome opportunity to say thank you.
Are they artsy fartsy, Brielle?
No.
And but no.
They are not.
Mine is not either. Mine doesn't like
Really?
anything to do with it. Nope.
They love it. They love the arts, but they're just they're in their lives. They're
Is your son,
school.
is he driving yet?
He's driving. He's still got to get his license, but he's driving.
As soon as they get that license, man.
Every time he's near me, I'm like, so I can be on my phone.
Oh my God.
Here you go.
When my son got his license and he got his car and he started, that was so sad for me because one of my favorite things was driving all his friends everywhere. Because you got so much good gossip in the car.
Yeah, you learn everything.
Boys are in the car and they're all wrestling and talking about this one and that. And I used to just love it. My husband would say, "Why do you always say yes to driving the group?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me? How much gossip I get on those rides?" And I
just gotta steal them. You gotta steal their phone.
Oh,
steal their phone.
No way. He'll never let me near that phone.
I have a girlfriend that does this thing when her kids come home. It's called the interrogation. So it's an interrogation. She gets 10 questions. Once they answer the 10 questions, they don't have to talk to her again for the rest of the night. But they all sit in a chair and she goes, boom, 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 boom. Thank you very much. Boom, boom, boom. And then they're done. They don't even have to acknowledge mama for the rest of the day.
Hysterical.
I'm gonna steal that.
I have to say, we just brought ours to college, this year. And my husband and I drove him up and we made the bed and put the clothes in the closet and got him all set up and come on, let's take you to dinner. And we went to dinner and gave him a big hug. And I'm like, all right, sweetheart. And he's like, all right, so I'll be home in about 2 hours. And I was like,
what?
I just dropped you off at your dorm. He's like, Mom, I'm an hour away. Why would I sleep up there in that awful bed when I can go home? And I'm like, you know what, babe? Come on home.
Exactly.
He's home 4 nights a week.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
You got a good son.
I got a good baby. It's really funny though.
And it's that Italian cooking is what it is.
Well, it is too. If you always had a pot of pasta sitting somewhere, they're coming.
If you give me your address, I'll be at your house for it.
Tell me about your new album that was just released.
My album is Who I Really Am, and it's called that because the title track is that, which became the title track because it's called that. But what it's about is what we've been talking about, and that is recognizing our truest value is not in the reading of our biography, but in actually these stories of our life, the challenges that we've lived, the lessons learned from the things that we've survived or have not. And this is a big thing. You don't even have to have survived it yet to have value in the talking about it. You can be in the midst of I was asked to speak to this group of women raising money for fertility treatment, and I was still trying to figure out how to have a second child. And I was like, I don't think I'm ready to speak about this. And what I learned is, no, I was actually the perfect person because I was in the middle of the struggle, as opposed to somebody sitting over here like, well, when I had my miscarriage, no, I was in it. And there was some value in even being in the struggle and talking about it. So I think that is that's what's most precious about me, is those moments that were not biography worthy. And so, but they're much more identifying of who I am. And so this album is a selection of a material of songs that I started writing in 2020 that tells those stories.
Wow.
And because it was autobiographical in so many ways, when the documentary crew heard about it while they were making their documentary on the other side of my life, they were like, can we just use like 7, 8 of these songs in this?
I love that you're the
great is that?
soundtrack of your own life.
Yeah. So that's the
amazing.
thing that happened. And it just kind of worked out. It all happened around the 10th anniversary of Hamilton.
And do you play
It's like,
guitar and piano, and what instruments do you play?
I play, well, I have that guitar there, and I haven't played it since I think 1995.
Turn back.
But Stephanie and I were in Godspell.
Well,
In 1995, I played that in Godspell at the Muni. But I do have that, and I also play a little piano. But you are not hearing me play an instrument other than my voice on the album, because I ain't stupid. I hire people that are much better at it. But the writing of the music all happened, a lot of it in this room, and kind of all over, because it took years. That's another reason why I didn't do that last show with you, Stephanie, because I was trying to finish this album. And the beautiful thing about life is that it happens when it's supposed to. I was like, how come it's taking so long to finish this album? What's going on with this documentary? What's happening, how come it's taking me so long to have these children? Like, when you look back to all of the people that are in their own version of whatever they're trying to give birth to, it always ends up happening the way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Right on time. I've always believed that God doesn't necessarily give us exactly what we want. He does not only necessarily, never
timeline. It's not on
does
your
he give us exactly what we want when we want it and whatever.
Yeah.
But what he does is, if we ask for it, give us peace about what we have, and he will set up for us a way to use the experience to help someone else along the journey.
My thing right now is, whenever I feel like that feeling of like, why isn't this falling into place? I just look up and say, thank you for showing me that all of this is exactly where it's supposed to be. Thank you. And then I just move on, because it's too frustrating when you're trying to control things according to your timeline. It doesn't happen that way, but we have to always remind ourselves that. But I have one more question about your music. Do you have like a writing process? Like, do you write the song around the lyrics? Do you wake up one morning and a tune is in your head? Like, how does it happen for you?
Well, it happens in many different ways, collaboratively. I don't do a lot of let's all sit down together in a room and write in this moment, because I feel that that's kind of like jogging. I like to run, but when I'm running with other people, like right by, I'm always worried about, is my pace, you need to be going faster or slower? Like I'd rather just be at my own pace.
Yeah.
So it becomes a very it's like I'm singing what I would want to hear. It really comes out of my space as a singer, my writing of music. And I'm one of my favorite places to write music is driving in the car, because I am actually doing something that doesn't take up so much of my brain, but it's something. I'm not staring at a blank piece of paper. So I literally, from LA to New York City, I will get in a car and start driving up a freeway and find myself 3 states over and come home with a song.
Wow. That's
amazing.
so cool. I
Yeah,
was
that
just
is
listening
cool.
to this podcast. I don't know if you've ever listened to it. It's called the Telepathy Tapes. Anyway, it's really amazing podcast. You should listen to it. It's remarkable. But they were talking about where ideas come from, and that
Huh.
there's like this zeitgeist or this human consciousness that we all have access to, and that ideas will drop down, and if you they'll drop ideas down to the vessels that they believe can grasp it and create something out of it, and if you
Mm.
decide not to grasp it, it goes to the next vessel.
Mm.
And I just thought that
I
was
believe that. I believe that.
fascinating, because my husband and I will hike every morning and talk about lots of stuff. And I was saying, like, what makes one idea something that I go, yes, that's the idea, I'm going to do that. And other ideas drop in and you're like, that's a great idea. Somebody should do that, but it's not me.
Or if you
Correct.
wait
I
too
have the
long,
idea.
if you
I
wait
have
too long, it goes
It
on to
goes
something
away.
else.
Yeah.
That's right. I
Yeah.
have the ideas. It's the action then that follows that inspiration. I get
Yeah.
the spark and I go, this is actually really great. This could
Then you
turn
got
the
to,
whole model on its head. Now you've got to put it into practice. And that's a discipline where I can easily drop the ball for a multitude of reasons. Sometimes it just seems too big, too difficult.
yeah.
And other times, my attention is drawn elsewhere.
They
But
talked about this poet who she gets her best ideas when she's like working outside in the garden and stuff, and she said she can feel an idea coming toward her like a racing horse,
mm,
and she will pick up her pen and paper, and as the horse passes her, she will write what it says. And sometimes if it's going too fast, she imagines grabbing the tail and bringing it back, and then ends up writing the poem in reverse.
Really?
what?
Yeah. It's such a cool podcast.
Wow. We'll be right back with the 5 questions. But first, a word from our sponsor. Your perfect sandwich.
The perfect combination of sliced some kind of meat. It's got to have a little saltiness to it. I'm a savory person. Lettuce, tomato, mayo, maybe honey mustard, little salt and pepper, slightly toasted bread. That or tuna fish like a melt, or melted peanut butter and jelly.
Oh,
Melted PBJ.
You know what I'm saying? Like when it's a little warm.
very different. These are all very different.
I like it.
Okay,
I like
okay.
it all. Okay. You are arrested and thrown in jail, and you have to call Alexis to come and get you. What does he assume that you have done to land your butt in jail?
Something around driving.
You wrote a song and drove off the road.
Something around me moving moving a vehicle too fast.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Something around driving.
We walk into your closet. Is there a piece of clothing, a garment, a jewelry that you will never get rid of because of the sentimentality and memories it holds?
I have clothes I got when I adopted my daughter in Ethiopia. And yeah, some of them are like, for her. But basically, when I was there, I got some piece of clothing for every member of our family, and our Christmas card that year had a picture of us all wearing Ethiopian garb. And those clothes I'll always keep, even the one that no longer fits her or my son.
Love it.
Sweet.
Okay, if your life is a book, what's this next chapter called?
Satisfied-er. That's a joke from like Tommy Kail and Lin-Manuel Miranda when we always joke. Basically, because I did make them give me all of the footage from Satisfied. Anytime we're all together, like at the Tonys, they're like, "Do you want us to just sign this over to you now, Renee?" Satisfied-er.
There was one clip where Seb and I were laughing so hard. It was the night before opening. You're all gathering. Someone is just like off the cusp, maybe the rapping, right? And at the end, everybody's giggling, but it's all warming up. You're like, "Woo, hey!" Like all the reactions to the rap, we were like, oh, they're still all warming up right now, saving the voice, saving the voice. Very smart. Last question. If you were a nail polish color, what's the color and what's the cheeky little name of the nail polish color?
Mm, Christmas red.
Mm,
I don't know. First thing that came to me, Christmas red. I'm a French manicure girl at the moment, but Christmas red. I mean,
love it.
I just love those. I just love that.
That
Yeah.
is classic. Old Hollywood, old school.
Actually, you know what? Maybe I'll make it cranberry red. Let me take it.
Ooh,
I'm gonna take it cranberry red because I'm a little, I'm a little more mature.
yeah. I am so appreciative of your time. Honest to God,
I love you
truly.
guys. Continue to do the great work.
Thank you. You
Thank
as
you so
well.
much for taking the time. It's so good to chat with you face to face, finally.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
I'm going to reach out about that little birth of the idea. I'm going to grab the horse by the tail and let's
Love
see if we
that, right?
can't dream something into
That's
existence.
that's dream.
Okay. All
Let's
right.
create a template for everyone else.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Renee.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
I love you
Scott.
guys.
Bye.
Oh, how great is she?
Really, really great.
What
Really,
an
really special.
incredibly talented, grounded, amazing, um, authentic, strong. Like, what else can we list? She's incredible. Incredible.
I find myself, first of all, it's always interesting when you have had people in your life, not on the daily, but on the regular for that amount of years. And the lack of timeline that I have is now starting to become really apparent. So these moments that, we all have different markers for and how we can envision and where we were and then someone can dispute that and say, no, actually, that's not going to line up right. It's really wild to be confronted with that and go, okay, I need to look back and see what was that chapter? Where were we? Um, she's a special pal. And in that, though, when do we check in? I mean, I guess she's right. More through our friendships and touching base with one another. And yet, I look at that face, nothing's changed in 30
Yeah, I
years.
know that feeling. That's a good feeling.
Nothing's changed.
Well, and
And
now that
everything's
now
changed.
that Seb and Alexis will be best friends.
Right. Oh my gosh. But honestly, the way he spoke, the way Alexis spoke of Renee and the words that he used, they weren't, I think I actually wrote them down because I thought these are special personal words. It's not your average, oh, she's an incredible this or a terrific that. He used words like reveal and discover, they're real action type words. I think at one point he calls her a superhero. And to your point, to see the partner in your life, especially men right now, to make way for, we're building this life. We are co-creating, co-architects in this life together. And it's always going to be one of us is doing this, and then you do this, and then I handle this. That's the ebb and flow I think most relationships are striving for rather than that sort of hierarchy. This is the way it's
Yeah.
been defined in the past and how
Yeah.
it, quote, works.
Yeah.
This is how it works.
Yeah.
The shared partnership
Well, that's how it works and lasts.
and
Yeah,
lasts.
because it won't last if you can't be supportive of each other, not just one way, but both ways, which requires a lot of both people.
Yeah.
It won't work. She did have this quote in the movie that I just loved, and I meant to bring it up to her and tell her, but the quote was that very end quote. Do you know what I'm talking about? She says, "Never forget what God can build in the place of what seems lost." Ugh, I just love that.
Say it one more time for everybody.
Never forget what God can build in the place of what seems lost.
Yeah.
I just think it's beautiful. I've been
It is
working
beautiful.
a lot on I'm working on a book. um and I've been working on it for a little while, and the opening is based on a Kierkegaard poem, and it reminds me of this. I'm going to read it to you. The most painful state of being is remembering the future, particularly the one you'll never have.
Whoa.
And it reminds me of what she's saying in her poem, though, too. It's you don't know what's going to be there in that place that you think you'll never have something. You can create something.
Or in some of your darkest times, gosh, guys, we are throwing some quotes at you. I can't say who said this, but it is a reminder to me always that just when you feel you're buried, you're actually planted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So in some of your darkest times, you think this is it. And no, it's
No,
actually
it's just
just the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm at that place in my life right now where I'm reinventing a lot of things about myself and my life. And, you know, it's scary, but it's also really wonderful and hard to picture what's next.
Hard to picture.
Yeah.
I'm in that hard to picture place too.
Yeah.
And I will say that God and the universe are presenting things to me that I have seen before, mountains I have climbed before, experiences I have lived before. And when mentioning what might that cost my family to kind of, you know, relive that experience under a different title or under a different, you know, role, it excites me in the sense that we can pay the bills. It helps pay the bills. But on a whole, it's almost like revisiting the same place over and over and over again. And I think I'm at a crossroads where it's scary because I don't know what is ahead of me looks like, but I am more excited about and hopeful about that sort of undescribed place.
Yeah.
I don't even have words for it right now.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
I understand exactly that feeling. Exactly.
It's a precipice of some kind, and I'm not exactly sure what the some kind is.
And that's okay. Sometimes you're not supposed to be able to picture it because that might limit it.
Oh, that's
true. If
true.
you only picture what you know, it's limiting. It's something you don't know yet, so you can't picture it, and you have to move forward with the faith that you're going the right way. You're of service, you're being authentic, you're moving in the right direction, and you have the preparation, going back to that, right?
Yeah.
To embrace whatever it might be. There's a reason we can't envision it, and it's because we haven't seen it yet, and that's okay too.
And that's okay too. But
It's
we have to
actually
keep
really
moving
exciting.
as well. I'm a real believer in everybody. Just if you don't know what it is, just keep creating because it will become clear. You can't just wait for the clarity. You have to work within your own means, your own time limit, your own bounds. And then the universe looks down and goes, oh, they're still creating. They're still moving. They're still making energy. Let's support that.
I do one thing every day. That's what I tell myself. What's your thing today? One thing every day. Just do it. Doesn't matter if you don't know why you're doing it. Just do it because it's the one thing today. Yeah.
It's important.
Anyway, that was really fun.
It was. And, you know, we're only doing maybe once a month, sometimes twice a month, depending on our guests. So thank you all for sticking with us. We are curating sort of a different model right now amongst our schedules, but we sure appreciate you tuning in with every new guest. And hey, there's always a chance to go back and go, oh, yeah, that interview. I bet you there's a morsel or something in there that I've forgotten. Go revisit, go listen.
And
sometimes
share it.
I do the same. I listen back to our old interviews and go, oh, man, that was a great conversation. And I'm taking that with me. Yeah, yeah. And there are little tidbits hidden within the conversations that, again, may not have been applicable back in the day. But now all of a sudden they resonate with you in a way that you're like, oh, that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Anyway, I think it's because our guests are so authentic, and it's always shocking to me how honest and
what they
open.
share.
Yeah, it's shocking. I'm always shocked and so grateful. But please share it with all your friends and help us keep growing. And we'll have one more for year's end for sure.
Oh yeah, another guest, and then probably one with just you and I, where we talk too much.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there is nothing wrong with that.
Love you.
I love you. Bye.
Bye. Stages podcast is produced by Mary Lee Fairbanks and Stephanie J. Block. You can find us wherever you listen to your podcasts. Join us on social media pages or sign up for the mailing list at stagespodcast.net. That is also where you will find Stages swag. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share and rate and review the show. It really helps us grow. Big thank you to Noah Kaiserman and Garrett Healy for the original music, and Allison Arns, who has been with us since day one. See you soon.